Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Kerbal Space Program. Now, as you can see here, we are at Kerbin. The Space Center is just towards the middle of the screen there, and we are with our Kerbals out in the Land Rover Mark III. Can you see it yet? Little speck on the screen as we zoom in all the way. And here it is, the Land Rover Mark III, the final version. I've made some tweaks since last episode. We now have science on board, so we've got this materials bay, goo, and some other instruments on the back here, including the barometer. We've got the science lab, and inside the mobile processing science lab thing, we have... wrong button. There we go. There we go. Our two scientists. And inside the main capsule here we have our engineer and two pilots. So we've got everybody. Everybody's in the Mark III. We've also got a bit of more fuel. What I've already done since last time is I took the rover around the Kerbal Space Center and I did lots of bits of science, making sure that I did all the EVAs I could, I got all the surface samples I could, and all the pressure readings, all throughout the different buildings, like we did in many episodes ago. Then I came out over here and got it at the grasslands, and now I'm off to Kerbin's shores for this episode. So, I'm going to undo the brakes, throttle up, and we're going to just steer this craft. This craft is so amazingly stable when I've been driving it. When I drove it over here to get onto the grasslands, on the flat land to the right over here, I managed to get it up to 50 meters per second, and for a land vehicle I think that's not too bad, especially with these rubbish little wheels here. The only thing that does tend to wobble around a bit is the science processing lab. So what I'm doing today, I want to get down onto Kerbin's shores, finish doing those little bits of science. Now I'm not going to drive this thing all the way to the mountains and to the North Pole and that, into the deserts. We're not going to do that, we'll have to use a rocket for that. But today's episode I also want to try and get, let's go this way a bit. I want to try and get the Space Center slightly upgraded, so let's just accelerate a little bit. As you can see, we're quite happily going along at 33 meters per second. The previous land vehicles, I would not have wanted to do that at all. That would have been terrible. It would have been it was indeed catastrophic at one point. But here we go. I think that will just about do. So we're going to cut the engines and apply the brakes. Veers to the left slightly when the brakes are applied. I have no idea why, but never mind. Now let's just do a few different things. Let's just check with a crew report where we are. Kerbin Shores, brilliant. Let's transmit that. We may as well. Crew report from Kerbin Shores. I don't think we've done that before. Let's check the materials bay. And no, transmit is 0 science, so we'll reset that. Mystery goo, because we've done it before, you see. Just checking though. Transmit 0 science. Let's reset that. Let's just flip round to the other side here, because this is where our barometer and temperature sensors are. So we're going to log the pressure. We've got some science for this one, so we're going to send it to the processing lab first to get 7% extra. There we go. And then we're going to do a temperature log as well, just checking. Oh yeah, we get some science for that as well. So let's send that off. Here it comes back, the temperature scan. We can now transmit that. We have an extra bit of science there from processing it in the lab. You can see that our solar energy, our electrical charge, is doing quite well. All these solar panels around the top here are doing their job, and now we can transmit that as well. You can see that we're using the two different antennas at different times for transmitting different things. So we can actually transmit two things at once, which is quite cool actually. Right, surface sample time. So we're going to get one of these guys out on EVA, doesn't matter who. There we go, there we go. Out on EVA, and he can go down the side of the command pod and then down on these ladder extensions here. And just get near to the surface. A little bit closer. There we go. Take surface sample. We'll keep that data. We'll do an EVA report. Nope, no science, so we'll reset that. We'll get back up into the pod. It's that easy. Now, if I want to, I could bring people out of the science lab, because I do have a set of ladders here at the bottom. But it doesn't really make too much sense. We're going to just go and look at those stored experiments. We're going to process them in the lab, and then we'll get them back. So for some reason the ladders seem to angle backwards a little bit. I'm not too bothered about that. Let's retract that ladder, we're not using it. So that's been processed there, 35, 36%. The electrical charge is pretty much holding. Well, it's going down a bit, but we've got plenty of it. There's batteries, like I said previously in the last episode, underneath this rover. 4 massive batteries under there that hold a massive amount of charge. And there we go. We have processed everything. Now we can just transmit that last piece of data. Out comes our little transmittery thing on the side of the pod. And we can undo our brakes and try for the last place with the rover. And we're going to try and take the rover into the water. Yeah. I'm not feeling too comfortable about this, but hey ho, we're going to give it a go anyway. I don't know if it's going to float very well, because last time we had lots of floaty parts when we went into the water with a rover. So let's apply those brakes. We don't want to hit the water very quickly. We want to hit the water very slowly indeed. Less than a meter per second would be nice. That will have to do. Okay, let's roll it in now. That science lab is... sorry, not the science lab. The materials bay on the front there is very delicate. It's actually a bit of a daft place to put it. But nonetheless, in we go. We have a floater. Oh, it's a bit back heavy. Oh, is it going to actually float? I think the back wheels are still touching. Let's just push ourselves along a little bit. Yeah, looks like we are floating. Brilliant. Now, let's continue to burn out into the water. We may as well raise the gear. Might make it more aerodynamic or more water dynamic. I have no idea, but it certainly makes it look like a boat. We're going to make a proper boat at some point. I don't know when, but we will. Oh, this is brilliant. Chugging along at 0.4 meters per second. I don't know if doing time acceleration is a good idea. Let's just do a little bit and see what happens. It looks alright. It looks alright. This uses a lot of fuel. It's highly inefficient. But we have actually got ourselves a floater. Right, let's cut those engines and just leave it to drift slightly. Time to do... let's do a crew report. Just make sure where we are. Where are we? Kerbin Shores. We're not out in the water yet. For some reason, we're still getting 100% transmission on that. So, let's transmit that anyway. Let's get you out on EVA, mate. See what we get on the reports there. EVA report from Kerbin Shores again. Now, get back inside, mate. Okay. I think we need to be further out into the water, so let's ignite those engines. Bring our speed up to... I want, ideally, to be at least a meter per second. There we are, 1 meter per second. That'll do. And we're going to have to wait until we get out there a bit. It might have been a good idea to start further out on this peak over here and then go out towards the water. But we will use a significant amount of fuel and get out there. I'm going to try a little bit of time acceleration. The angle of the craft, the bobbing of the craft, I don't really want it to break. I can tell by this number in the top left hand corner here. When it's green, it means the computer is processing the physics without any problems. Yellow means it's doing a bit intermittently. Red means that it's not calculating the physics in time. So my computer is currently struggling with this. But let's just bring that back to normal speeds. Do a crew report. See where we are. Kerbin Shore still. Well, I'm going to pause the recording and I will see you when we're further out to sea. Okay, so I was going out there and I wasn't getting far enough out to not count as being in the shore, so I recovered the vessel. You can see we got a load of parts back here, almost all of its value. Let's click next. No XP gained for any of the guys in there at this time. Let's get the craft back out again and head out this way rather than from in that kind of cove area. Right then, off we go again with the guys, straight out into the water. Okay. Got the lights on now so I can see a little bit better as we're entering the water. Just going to do it at a slow speed. I think we are in again. Brilliant. A little bit lower in the water this time. I'm not sure why. Let's get these throttled up gently and take ourselves out. I think it's when we get past this kind of shallower area here we count as being in the water. I've got the lights on at the moment, but it is getting very dusky. So hopefully these solar panels do their job. Right, let's slowly increase the speed. And I will see you when we're far enough out. Okay, so the engines just ran out, and apparently we're just far enough out there. This crew report sends Kerbin's water, so that's all good. Let's reset that experiment, because we're not going to be doing that one. We're just going to be doing the ones that we haven't done before. So we're just going to check the mystery goo. We're going to observe the materials bay. Nothing for that one, nothing for that one. I didn't think so. Barometer reading. Let's log the pressure. There we go. Let's just do that in the mobile lab there. And log the temperature. We'll do that one in the lab too. Transmit them when we're ready. And we're going to EVA one of the guys here. Now, we haven't got the ladder extended, so I'm just going to extend the ladder. There we go. Transmit that other one. Brilliant. Now, come down the ladder, mate. Into the water. Right, can we do no surface sample yet? Take surface sample. There we go. We're going to keep that data. We'll do an EVA report whilst we're here. I don't think it's going to be worth it. Oh, it is. There we go. We'll keep that as well. So now get back inside, mate. There we go. And now we're inside. We'll review those experiments, and we will transmit that one and process that one in the lab. Hopefully, I'm going to turn the lights off here because to conserve electrical charge, because the sun's going down and our lab uses quite a lot of electrical charge. So the command pod itself is now out of charge. We're on the batteries and it's getting close to finishing that, and then we just need to transmit it, and there we go. Everything's done. Transmitting that, and then we're going to recover the vessel. Rover has completed its work. Done. Come on back, everybody. Back home to base. Okay, so now we have got some science points from all of that science that I was running around with. 291 now. Let's check back in R&D here, and we can see that these ones cost 300 each. That one up there costs 500, and we can't unlock that one yet. So we do need a lot more points, really, to be able to get all of this sort of stuff. I want to get field science because it gives us the command seat, it gives us the rover mate, and also these wheels, which actually have a built-in motor, so we don't have to use jet engines to propel ourselves around. We can make proper Land Rovers. The Mark IV will be a proper Land Rover without jets, and it will just be a purely electric vehicle. But like I said, we need more science for that, so we'll do that later. So that was the Land Rover Mark III Part 2. Now it's time to get to our space station and do part 2 of that as well. So let's get into our vehicle assembly building. And we don't want our Landcraft Mark III. We're going to load up the Hellish Station Alpha. Here we go. There it is. Now we're going to go up there with more or less the same craft, but we're not going to be taking this big station core with us this time. So what we're going to do is remove that. So what we need to do is we need to disconnect this part at the bottom here. This is going to be the bit that sends us up. We're going to take off all of that, and we're going to take off all of that, and we're also going to take off these comms dealies. Oh no, there we go. So they're off as well. Then we're going to reconnect this back onto there, like so, and then we're going to put another docking port back on, like. Did I get that? No. Here we go. Whoa, wait. There we go. So we've got a docking port, we've got RCS, we've got fuel, and we've got the ports and the solar panels. All the standard stuff you would expect to have. Now, we need some batteries on this because if we're going on the far side of the planet and doing manoeuvres and so forth, we don't want to be reliant on the solar panels when we haven't really got them. So let's just put some batteries on there as well. Brilliant. And that is about ready. This is now not the Hellish station, but this is the station delivery craft. There we go. This is the Mark 1. I don't know if I spelt that right, but never mind. And what we're going to be doing, delivering this time, is we want to deliver a large fuel tank so that we can store fuel at our space station. So there's our node to couple ourselves up. Now let's have a look. Structural. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this Rockomax brand adapter. It's $3 but I think it's going to be good for us. So let's get that on there. So we're putting that directly on our port. We're going to get a fuel tank, a big massive Rockomax fuel tank, and on the other end we're going to do the same as what we just did. So we will put, where's it gone? We will put that brand adapter on this way round, and then we will put a docking port on the top. There we go. Now, so basically, we're going to take this fuel tank up to the space station, but there's not a chance in hell that we're going to get that up there like it is. It's just way too heavy. I mean, if we look here, the whole rig is currently 115 tons. That's a lot. So what we're going to do, we're going to right-click on this tank. We're going to take all the liquid fuel out of it and all of the oxidizer out of it. We literally want to take an empty tank up there so that when we visit with a spacecraft, if we've got any spare fuel or we want to refuel, we can use this tank to do so. As you can see now, it's now down to 83 tons. So it's quite a big difference. So the next thing that we want to do is actually brace this up, otherwise it's going to wobble around all over the place like the last one. So let's get these strut connectors, and we want to strut connect this top section up here with probably quite a few. Now these are quite light, aren't they? Mass 0.05, so they're fairly negligible. I would love to be able to get these on in a position somewhere like this. It is going through the edge of the solar panel, but I think that's going to be okay. And the last thing that we need is some more RCS, because if we just use these RCS control nozzles down here to turn this craft, it is going to be a nightmare, an absolute nightmare to try and turn around. So we're going to go into command and control, RCS thruster blocks, and we're going to stick some on the end of this up here as well. So these RCS thrusters are going to become part of the space station. And there we go. This whole rig's going to cost us 44,000 to get up there into space. Later on, we're going to start adding habitation modules. We're going to add science labs, all sorts. But for now, we want to use it as a refueling station to visit the moon again and get those contracts done. So I'm fairly sure that this is done. We don't have any crew on board. It is a drone. It is a drone or probe, depending which way you want to look at it. We should have enough for us to get us up there. We was able to get that station core up there. I'm fairly sure we should be able to get this empty fuel tank up there as well. Fingers crossed, hey? So let's save that again and head out to the launch pad. Let's just check the staging though first before we do that. So the braces go, the side fuel solid goes, the main sail goes, and then when we split, the side pieces blast off. Yes, we're all good. We're all good. Let's just bring that last stage in with that one. There we go. Brilliant. Off to the launch pad. Okay, so here we are at the launch pad. I'm going to turn the SAS on. We're going to throttle right up. I'm going to save just in case we get any errors, because this game does sometimes have an error. And what we're going to do is we're going to go out into map mode and have a look and try and see where we are. Here we are on the launch pad with our station delivery craft Mark 1. And there is the space station orbiting space Hellish Station Alpha. We want to kind of intercept it. Now, I'm going to speed up time just a little bit. We're going to have a night launch here by the looks of it. Let's bring our fuels and masses up. Now, the station is just about to catch up with us. That will do there. Station is coming up close. I think we should launch. And that's going to get us fairly close, I reckon. So, nothing else left to do apart from do that launch. 3, 2, 1, blast. There we go. Looks like a fairly clean launch. Doesn't appear to be wobbling around too much yet. We're going quite fast. The throttle at the minute is about half. I think that's about right. We don't want it to go too quickly, otherwise we end up pushing too much against the through the atmosphere. Way too thick. This fuel tank is probably heavier than the core of the space station, so we might have a little more of a struggle getting it up there, but we will see. So these solid boosters really I want us to get us to at least 6,000 metres. A little bit further would be nice, but they are about to run out. Before they run out, I need to put that main engine on to full power and blast them away. Brilliant. And I can just bring the power of that main engine down a little bit. I don't want to start accelerating too much. We're not high enough yet. We're coming up to about 10,000 metres, so I'm going to start bringing the craft over. A little bit of wobble in the craft, but that's not too bad. Let's bring it over to the 45-degree mark. Roughly, there we go. And we'll put off rocket to maximum power now. And as you can see, our Apple Apps is doing a lovely job of extending. 31,000, 32. Oh, that's brilliant. That was a good launch. Good launch, people. Right, and I'm going to cut that when we kind of intersect this Hellish station. We're going to be just above it, so 72, 82. In fact, let's just reduce the speed of it and just give it a bit more of a boost. 91, 92. It's just coming in below. Can you see it's coming in below because of an angle we've got there, but it doesn't matter. 108, 109. That'll do for now. That'll do for now. Right, I'm going to get this thing into an orbit. I will see you when it is. Okay, I'm just about to try and put myself into an orbit. I've turned the RCS on and rotated the craft around so that it is following our maneuver node vector, the little blue, I would call it crosshairs, but it's a tri-hair, I would say. According to this, it's an 18-second burn, and we're going to get to that node in a few seconds. I don't know if we've got 18 seconds worth of fuel left in this main tank. We will have to see. So when we get down to about 9 seconds, maybe a little bit more, just in case we run out of fuel, I'm going to activate the engine to full power. So 10 seconds will do. There we go, full power. Now it's rated ourselves at 15, 14, 13. I don't know if we're going to run out of fuel or not. It's going to be flipping close. No, we're out of fuel, so jettison that stage. Maximum power on this one. This burn's going to take a lot longer. This engine's nowhere near as powerful, so we probably should have started this burn a little bit earlier. But as you can see, we have got most of the way through this burn, and I will just keep going until our Apple Apps and Peri Apps flip over. Now, the amount of liquid fuel down here is showing very, very small, but that's because it's counting this main one as well. So we've actually got quite a lot of fuel in this main tank here. Right, so the Apple Apps is there. Where's our Peri Apps? It's just poking up on the other side of the planet. We want that Peri Apps to be at least 100,000. And there it was, I think. 105 and 110. We've got a nice little orbit there. It's not perfectly circular, it's not perfect orbit, but let's remove that maneuver node. There is the part of the delivery that we jettisoned, and that will fall back to the planet now because it didn't achieve full orbit. but we have got a full orbit here. Now the space station itself is ahead of us, so we need to catch up, and to catch up it means we want to be orbiting under. So we actually need to go retrograde. So let's turn ourselves into a retrograde position. Sorry, that's prograde. We'll set this as our target, the Hellish station, set as target. And we're just going to use our RCS to turn the vessel round, as you can see here. There's the vessel. That thing in the distance there is what we use to propel ourselves up there. That's that fuel tank. It's already gone away. And the Hellish station itself is somewhere over here in the distance, quite a distance away. Yep, there it is. So we need to bring our orbit down a little bit because we're behind it. So we're going to have to catch up. So if I increase my throttle slightly, you can see this periapse here is just dropping down. And we're going to drop it down to about 96, 95. There, that'll do. So we're going to get on the inside of it there. Right, let's speed up time. As you can see, that main debris is going to crash into Kerbin. There it goes. We're still behind at the moment because at the minute we're on the outside track, but we just switched to the inside track. And when we get to our periapse, which is here, we're going to put time back down to normal speeds. We're going to allow our RCS and our autopilot to rotate the craft, which is happening now. You see there's the RCS going crazy. Let's just turn that off for a second. We don't want to use too much RCS. There we are. So that should now be pointing us complete retrograde to our orbit. There it is, the main engine pointing in the direction of travel in the sun. Full batteries, brilliant. Let's go back to map, and what we want to do is bring this apoapse just beneath us as well. So it needs to go from 109 to about 98, 95. So let's bring that engine up, and as we bring the engine up, our Apoapse drops, and it's just dropped about 95. So now we've got a 94 and a 95. So we're going to be on an inner track to this space station and catching up with it. Well, hang on a minute. Okay, our orbit is very, very skewed. We need to kind of sort that out. We will do that shortly. Let's just speed up time a little bit. Now here, as we come up, let's slow down a second. This DN here is our descending node. That basically means we cross over on a level plane. So at that descending node, I'm going to add a maneuver, and I need to do it quite quickly because we're nearly there. It's only 1 minute away, and we want to level these two out. So let's see if I do that. Ooh. Trying to bring that into perfect alignment. Whoa, I think I went a little bit too far there. Wants to be flipping close anyway. I think that is close. It's saying an 11-second burn. I can handle an 11-second burn. That's not too bad. So let's switch back to a stability assist mode and manually point our vessel in the direction of that maneuver node. Here's the maneuver node down here. Let's just use the RCS to bring... Oh, no. Hellish, what are you doing? Remember which way goes which way now. Just a little bit closer. And there, I think that's pretty much smack on. We've got 13 seconds, 12, 11. It says it's going to be an 11-second burn, so I'm going to start it at about 6 seconds. There it is, maximum power. 5, 4, 3, 2, and this should be bringing ourselves in line perfectly. So let's have a look. Ah, that's much better. Our orbit is now in the same inclination as the space station. Let's remove that maneuver node. Now we are following the space station at an orbit which is approximately 4 kilometers below the space station. So we're just going to be catching up with it, and I'll see you when we're getting a little closer. Now, I am notoriously rubbish at doing these intersect maneuvers. I had to look up, get a few tips from the internet, from YouTube. I think one of the things I was always doing is I was always rushing it. So here we are, we're taking our time. We're allowing our craft to gently and slowly catch up with the space station. We're not having to use any power for this. No thrust, no fuel. It's just slowly catching up, automatically, all by itself, just because we're in this lower orbit. And when we get a little bit closer, we will try and actually get an intersect with it. I want to be nearly right next to it. Okay, so we are very, very close to it now. I don't know how the distance is between us. Distance is 8 kilometers between us at this point here. And according to this over here, we're going to have a separation of about 4 kilometers. And that's the difference in our orbits. So what I want to do is try to bring them together. So if we go prograde, I think it's prograde, yes, we'll go prograde. And I'm going to focus on Kerbin so I can see a little bit better. And we want to try and bring this intersection closer. So let's power up those engines ever so slightly. This is going to be a bit difficult because there's so many different pieces of information in the same place. But I've just powered up and we're bringing our periapps and our apple apps up to a... Now, where... I can't find our apple apps. It's supposed to be right round here. In fact, it is on top of where we are. And it says where separation is 1.3 kilometers now. Let's try and get that a little closer. 1.2. Oh, no, you see there, it's going back up again. 1.3.1.5. That's the closest we're going to get for that. So let's bring ourselves back round and get back to that 1.2 separation. And as you can see, the RCS is spinning our craft round. There we go. So we're going to just slowly 1.3, 1.2. Right, 1.2. We will have 1.2 there. That's good. Let's just fast forward time again. Turn the RCS off before we do fast forward time though, because we don't want the RCS being wasted. We're going to need that for manoeuvring in. And we can use any spare RCS to refuel the space station as well. So as we get up to this point here, we're going to be 1.2 kilometers apart. That's not too bad. Bam, there we go. Now we've got some intersection nodes flashing around here going crazy. We need to now go and bring our periapps in, up to the space station. So we need to go prograde to our orbit. So let's just do that now. It looks like... Oh, if we bring the RCS on, it'll actually help. Oh, dear. Now, I'm only showing you most of this time because it's the first time that we've done an intersect on this series. When I do this in the future, we will skip most of this. So I'm now going to give ourselves a little bit of a burn and see what we get here. We've got an intersection, 17 kilometers. I think it's because this periapps needs to be up to about... 1,098. Right, we've got a proper intersect now. 5.1 kilometers, 4.8, 4.1, 4, 3.6, 3.5, 3.1, 3, 2.9, 2.8, 2.7, 2.6. Just checking all these nodes here. Yeah, this isn't a very even intersection. Let's get them all up on the screen. So we've got the space station, Acropolis, we've got the delivery Acropolis, and the same here with the periapses. Okay, so we want these to be very, very close to each other. We don't want them to be too far apart. So that one is allowing us to catch up still. That one is taking us too far away. So I'm going to say, let's retrograde that back. And we'll bring it back to about 101. We want to just be extremely close, bit by bit. Right, let's give it a burst. 102, 101. That will do. So we're going to edge ourselves in. And I'm going to just keep going around and keep doing adjustments until we are very, very close on all accounts. Okay, I've got myself into a position I'm relatively happy with. Our space station is orbiting at 1000, and we are orbiting at 1001 and 99. There's a little bit of a wobble on our orbit compared to the space station, but it's within 2 kilometers. And we have an intercept. We have an intercept down here of 3.6, which isn't great, but we have an intercept over here of half a kilometer, which is good. A bit of a wobble might make it difficult. We need to try and intercept when we're closest, and we ideally want to be close all the way around the orbit. Otherwise, as we're moving towards the space station, it's going to end up moving away from us. But never mind. I think this is probably just within our tolerances, as long as we don't take too long to actually get and dock. As soon as we dock up, we're fine. So we're going to start our final approach now. We're going to let ourselves go around this orbit. This is going to update here when we go past it. And we haven't changed anything, so it's all pretty much the same. And what is our current separation? That's what I want to know. Let's see. Hellish station distance is 1 kilometers. When we got our closest point as 5 kilometers, when we get to about 1 kilometer on this orbit here, I want to start moving in. So that is going to be about here. So we're reducing time. We've only got 7 minutes to get this right. So here we are. The RCS is going mental. We're going to switch to target mode now, and we want to point ourselves roughly at the target. So let's get the RCS back on, and let's put ourselves in stability assist mode. Now this is all mixed up. Left, right, up, down is all crazy, I think. Oh no, it's all correct. It's all as it would be, I think. So what we're going to do, we're going to first of all do a burn towards the station. So there we go. Let's just burn towards the station. Bring our velocity up relative to the target to about 10 meters per second. And that's just going to bring us in a little way. Let's bring it up a little bit more than that. Let's bring it up to 25 meters per second. And then what we want to do is go retrograde to our target. And that's going to null out our velocity relative to the target completely. So we want to get ready to do that maneuver. Come on, quickly. Right, I think we're nearly there. Let's do it. Full power. We want to null out our velocity relative to the target. Bring this target velocity down to 0. By the way, this is not a tutorial. There we go. 0.1. That will do. It's only 127 meters away. That was a fantastic maneuver. Let's do a little bit of stability assist again. And what we're going to do is we're going to point our delivery target, our delivery vessel, directly at the space station. So we're just going to point it using our eye. There we go. Let's bring it down a little bit. All my keys are now messed up. None of them go in the right direction. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of velocity, about 2 meters per second, I think. And as you can see there, we're coming in on it. And when we get beneath 100 meters, maybe even about 50 meters, we're going to stop using this main engine and twizzling ourselves around. And we're going to switch to docking mode and just use the RCS. So, we're coming in a little slow. I'm going to give ourselves a little bit more thrust to bring us up to about 3 meters per second. And then I'm going to stick us on that retrograde marker again to null out our velocity. We need to do that quite soon before we hit the space station. We're getting very, very close now, so let's just And this main engine can actually blast us away. We want to be careful about that. There we go. That's it. We're sorted. We are close. We are very close indeed. There is the space station. There is us. We're going to switch to docking mode now, which allows us full control of the RCS ports. We're in radial mode at the minute, so I can spin this round, and we're going to put this on one of the ends. But I have no idea how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to first of all face it in a rough direction as to what I think it should be facing. So let's first of all get it in this orientation there. Brilliant. Now let's get it in this orientation. Good. Now I want it to go up. So we're going to come out of radial mode into linear mode, and we're going to figure out what up is. There, that's up. That's up, that's forward. That should not be up. Let's rotate the craft. There we are. So, I think we've had enough of going up. We want to slow down on the upness, and we want to go left. There we go. Brilliant. Now, we're 26 meters away. Let's bring ourselves forward a little bit. Yeah, we're still going up, so we want to bring ourselves a bit more power on the down. Now, we're getting too close, so let's give ourselves a burst backwards. Bring ourselves over to the left a bit more. There we go. That's going all pretty good. Now, let's null out our velocity again. There we go. I think that's pretty much done that. We need to be a little bit further away, actually. That's too close. There we go. Pretty much nulled out. Now we need to do a bit more rotating. So back to rotating mode. Let's bring this in line with the station this way. So we want it nice and flat. There we go. Now let's bring things in line this way. Zoom out a little bit. So we need to bring it round. There we go. That's a bit more done on the radial. Back to linear. And we can come for our final approach. So let's get up. And we're going to just move up. We're going to move back just a little bit so we don't collide. We're just going to keep moving up until we are at the roughly the correct vertical velocity. Not velocity, dimension. There we go, that's roughly right. Now we're going to bring ourselves over until we're roughly the correct angle this way. Let's null that out there. And now forwards. And as we're moving forwards, we're going to do some fine adjustments. Bringing ourselves in, bringing ourselves down. Looking good at the minute. Set this as the target here. There's the docking port. I don't know if that actually helped me at all. Let's go in just a little bit quicker. Stop our sideways velocity. We don't need any of that. Gives us ourselves a quick blast downwards. And I think... Oh, did we miss? We missed back. Let's bring ourselves over sideways. Just try again. There we go. I think we've got it. Turn the SAS off, helps this bit. It will settle in a second, I think. Little bit of wobble. Is it going to settle? Come on, connect. There, we've connected. Oh, brilliant. We have docked. Fantastic. Now, the problem is that this isn't in the right orientation compared to the space station. So this docking helps us clamp up quite nicely. I'm just going to undock and rotate the space station to match. So SES and RCS on. We're going to do a slight rotation. And then bring ourselves in. Oh no, we're losing it. We're losing it. Right, switch to the other target. SAS off, RCS off. The undock gave us some momentum. We didn't want that. We're going to have to do that again. I will do that again, and I won't make you watch me, so I will see you in a second. Okay, so I've got the two a little bit more aligned in terms of their rotation. Hopefully this dock is going to be a little bit better. I'll need to bring it down. Oh, we are well off. That was not a good approach. I thought it was a good approach, but it wasn't. It was terrible. Crying out loud. I'm ruining this now. I'm ruining it. Okay, let's get this lined up again. So that's correct that way. Let's bring ourselves over this way. There, that's a much better one. Right, we're in, and these RCS ports on the tank line up a lot better with the space station. It's not perfect, but it's flipping damn close. That will do. There we go. We have delivered a fuel tank to the space station. Now there's only one thing left to do, and that's refuel the space station with everything that we've got left. We've got quite a lot of monopropellant in our delivery craft, and if I press Alt, I should be able to see what we've got on here as well. We've got quite a lot here. Let's go out on this monopropellant, get rid of it all, just fill up the space station completely. There we go. Now we're going to need a little bit to get back, so what we need to do is just click on two of these, click in and stop. 11 will be plenty to get us where we want to go. So there we go, that's that. Now let's check on the fuel situation. We've got quite a lot of fuel in here. We don't need that much fuel. Let's get it all into this big tank and then take out a little bit. So if we take, if we put it in back into the deliverer, we will use about 20, I think. Yes, let's try 20. We're probably not going to be able to save this probe based on the amount of fuel that's here, but never mind. There we go, that should do it. Right, so we've got enough there. We can detach and go back. Decouple node. There we go. So our space station now has a fuel tank attached to it. Fantastic. So now we can just very gently turn this RCS on. We're still in docking mode, so we can blast ourselves backwards from here. We can bring ourselves into staging, and we're far enough away now that we can just put ourselves in a retrograde to the orbit. There we go, and we can look at the orbit map here and just fire up our engines and bring our orbit down into the planet. So our periapt's there, 41,000, and bam, into the planet's surface. We're not going to be able to get all the way back to the space center, but I don't think I'm going to be able to land this anyway, to be honest, with the amount of fuel that's in here. There's not enough. We didn't use hardly any fuel for that. We did use hardly any fuel at all. Now we're going slower. The space station is rapidly getting further away from us as we start plummeting back down to the planet. And there we go. We have added our second module to our space station. I'm going to turn the RCS off. It's pretty pointless at this point. This deliver node here, maybe we can upgrade it, put some parachutes and some landing legs on it so we can reuse it. I don't think I'm going to be able to land it. maybe some lights on it would be a good idea. I'm not sure, but obviously all these extra items add extra mass, and we don't really want that. So let's see how we get on. Full 4 times speed at the minute, as this craft is still orbiting around the planet, hurtling round at 2,300 meters per second. It's actually going faster and faster because it's falling its way to the planet's surface. So here it goes. 40. I just want to see if I can land this. I don't think I can with the amount that's fuel that's there. I don't think I've got enough fuel to slow myself down, but the here's the actual re-entry flares now. That's going to slow us down considerably. And we'll just see how far we can get in. Really just see what we can do here. And remember, in future episodes, I don't plan on showing you, oh, we're going to hit ground. This is not good. Not good for our craft at all. 8,000, 7,000, 6,000. We're still slowing down, though. We're reaching terminal velocities. Have we managed to slow down to our actual new terminal velocity? I don't think so. Let's fire that engine max power. Oh, might. We're still 600 up. Oh, hang on a second. Apparently we're 600 up into the sky. You know what? I managed to slow it down so only the engine blew up. We're going to be able to recover some parts on that. Let's see what we get. Okay, so it wasn't much. 2.7 thousand in funds back. That's okay. That's done. But there we go. We need to clear the launch pad of the debris from the launching system. But now in space, we have our space station. We can let's just clear that, recover that debris while we're here. There we go. Let's get rid of that. It's all on the launch pad. You can see here at the Kerbal Space Center on the planet. Let's just recover all that rubbish. There we go. And let's just finish today's episode at our space station again. Hit. No? Yes? Here we go. At our space station, which now has a whopping great big fuel tank on the side for us to fill up as we come up and bring more components to this station. We could actually just send a fueling vessel. Just to put a load of fuel in this tank. But that tank is going to be more than sufficient for our coming missions, and hopefully we'll be able to get to the moon absolutely lovely. Like I said, I want to put science modules and stuff on here, but all that can be very expensive, especially when we're not doing contracts at the moment. So, I think a refueling mission to the space station's in order. I think a few contracts are in order, and then we're off to the moon again. We're going to fulfill loads of contracts there. And if we have enough money, maybe set up a satellite and a moon base. I think that'd be fantastic. Well, from me and the Kerbal Space Center and everywhere else here, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the episode, remember to give it a like. If you want to keep up to date with my game giveaways that I do and which episodes I'm randomly putting them out on, follow me on Facebook or Twitter because I announce them on there. That's all from me for now. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.